What's up with that?
So weird how it does that. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, it's new.
Yeah.
Well, hello everyone. Super excited to see new faces and welcome. I'm really excited to have Anne. This is just like an impromptu thing that we decided to do together, and Anne is going to teach us how to calculate the numbers properly. And the lessons of each individual number. So if you have a paper and a pen, that'd be great, because I'm sure you're going to be writing stuff down. And hi Sean, I don't know if there's anything else that I really need to talk about. Just introducing Anne Perry for anybody that doesn't know her, and for anybody who doesn't know me, I'm Ree, and I'm a tarot reader and a meditation coach, and yeah, we just work together a lot, Anne and I. So
Refound me in the what as.
yeah, exactly.
Seriously, we've been doing our monthly forecasts. It must be about a year now, right? Has it been about a year?
I think so.
I think it's quite long, yeah. So we've been doing our monthly forecasts, and we just bounce off each other pretty well. So Ree suggested that we do something together. So I'm thrilled to be here to be introduced to some new people and some of my groups here too, which is awesome. So it's nice to combine the communities.
Yeah, it is. It's all like-minded, very spiritually based people here, so it's great.
Yeah, it's our tribe for sure.
100%.
Yeah. So we thought that it might be kind of interesting to talk a little bit about numerology. Now, I know a lot of you probably have some awareness of it. If you don't, that's okay. I'm going to give you kind of basic info on it. This is kind of a precursor to a program that I'm starting next, selfless plug here, next Tuesday. I believe it is Wednesday, Tuesday, right now, June. Yeah, next Tuesday we are starting a new program, and it's learning how to speak numbers. So it's on my website, numerologist.com. Check it out. Would love to have some of you join me. It's a 4-week program. So this is going to be kind of the beginning, starting of what you might be learning in that program. So if you're interested in learning more, by all means, reach out, because I still have some room in the class. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen at this point, and we're going to get going, if that's okay. So I'm hoping I'll be able to see who needs to get in. All right. Takes a little bit of time with Zoom going, guys, sorry. All right, so Ree, I'm not sure if you're able to see those who are trying to get in.
I can't, no. I can see the chat, but that's really it. Yeah.
Okay, so that might be a problem for people who are going to try and get in. Oops, okay. Sorry. There we go. All right, we're just gonna have to pop in and out occasionally, I guess, to see if there's anybody trying to get in. All right, so welcome to the 4 core numbers in your numerology. We're just doing core number 1 today. There are 4 core numbers that we look at in numerology, but your life path number is what we're going to be talking about tonight. So let's just do a little brief overview on numerology on the whole. Numerology is something that was discovered by Pythagoras about 2,500 years ago. Now, there are some arguments to say, no, the Chaldeans did it, and the Japanese did it, and the Chinese did it, and anyway, there's all kinds of different theories out there. The theory that I follow and that I teach is related to the teachings of Pythagoras. So he was a Greek mathematician, a philosopher, and he was many things about 2,500 years ago. The thing I found really interesting about him is that he did not allow any of his students to take notes. So it was kind of woo-woo, right? And it was kind of secretive and such. So he didn't allow anybody to take any notes while he was doing his teaching. So I find it really cool that all of this information has survived all this time, right? So it's always translatable, it's always relatable, it's always very, very accurate and to the point. He is the one that discovered notes to music. He's the one that discovered that numbers are symbols and they hold vibrations, and that the vibrations can symbolize different cycles in our lives. He is the one that observed the fact that we have a soul's contract that we write before we incarnate into this lifetime. So the idea is, within numerology, the belief system is that you chose the lessons that you wanted to learn prior to making your decision to incarnate into this earth school. You sat down with a group of spirit guides and you told them what you wanted to learn. And so you might have said, you know, I'm looking over my previous lifetime and I recognize that I wasn't very much of a communicator last time. I want to learn a little bit more about communication. So let's put some 3 energy into my birth code, because the 3 is going to invite lessons around communication and self-expression. And you know, I wasn't very organized either. So I want to bring some 4 energy in, because that will invite lessons around it. So we chose all the numbers to go into our date of birth, because that would actually create the lesson plan for us. So you also, believe it or not, chose your parents to help facilitate the lessons that you've chosen to learn in this lifetime. So why is this so important to learn how to speak numbers? Well, I teach numerology very differently than most, okay? Many of you likely know what your life path number is, okay? You might say I'm a 7, or I'm a 6, or I'm a 2, or I'm a whatever. But it's important to me to make sure that you understand what kind of a 7 are you? What kind of a 6 are you? Okay, it's not enough just to say that you're a 7 unless you're just a 7. And that is a possibility, that you can be just a single digit when all is said and done. But a basic understanding of the vibration attached to each one of the numbers is really the key to learning how to speak numbers, okay? So you have to really understand what each one means. So in this case, these are what we call composite numbers, okay? You can see 10/1. 1 plus 0 equals 1. 28, 1. 2 plus 8 equals 10. 1 plus 0 equals 1. Likewise, 3 and 7 comes to 10. 1 and 0 are 1. So in this case, understanding that the people who have the life path number 1 are not created equal. So why is that? It's because the numbers to the left of the slash really tell us who you are. Okay, it's not enough to say you're a 1 life path number. What kind of 1 life path number are you? So in this case, when we're looking at this guy here, the 10/1, he's a very, very different person than what this guy is over here, the 28/1. Okay, so this guy here, he's got to learn these, what we call sub lessons, the 1 and the 0. Okay, so the 1 relates to him to learning how to be confident, learning how to be a leader, learning how to be independent. This guy over here, his little sub lesson here, that's related to the number 2. That has nothing to do with the number 1. The 2 says, I have to learn how to be a partner, let alone never mind being, you know, independent, whatnot. I've got that, right? But over here in this space, it's telling me that the 2 says, I have to learn how to be more of a partner, more of a team player, more collaborative, okay? So there's the difference right there. And this guy here has to learn how to play nice in the sandbox with a group, okay? Because the 3 relates to the group. So the 0 in this case is learning his intuitive gifts. This guy over here is learning how to work with his power and authority. Now, at the end of the day, they're both 1s, or all 3 of these guys, they're all 1s, but they're coming by it very, very differently. Okay, so this is, again, I teach numerology very differently, because I'm not just going to open the door, peek for you. I want to blow it open, right? If you're going to spend the time and the energy to sit here and learn this, I want to make sure that you really know who you are. And I'm hoping by the end of this, you do. So each number holds a unique vibration. Now these numbers to the left of the slash, these are what we call sub-lessons. The one that is closest to the slash is the one that is going to be more in your face. Think of it this way, it's like, it's close, it's really close. So that's the one you need to learn the most, and it will probably trip you up the most. So in this case here, this person here doesn't need to learn about independence quite as much as he has to learn about his intuitive gifts, okay? So an understanding of the commonality of this vibration is the key to interpreting a numerology chart. It's kind of like learning the alphabet before you learned how to speak a language, right? Because this is what this is, it's learning how to speak numbers. So your life path number is the most important number on your chart. It outlines your opportunities, your challenges, your lessons in this lifetime. It is sometimes referred to as the destiny number, but I like to keep things real simple. So I just call it the life path number. You can call it life purpose number if you want. It identifies what we're academically well suited for. It is going to identify our core needs. It outlines our strengths and our weaknesses. And the life path number is fixed and unchangeable because it's based on your date of birth, right? So the date of birth never changes, unlike your birth name might change. You know, you might come in as John David Scott, but you refer to yourself as John Scott. Well, that changes your vibration on your name, but you can't do that with your date of birth, right? So your date of birth is what it is. That's why it's the most intense of all the numbers. So this might be a bone of contention for some, and I'm okay with that. But this is how I personally believe your life path number should be calculated if you really, really want to crack the code on your soul's contract. So the life path number equals the sum of the month, the day, and the year, while reducing this to a single digit or a master number. So we're going to add up the digits in your month and then reduce that to a single digit or master number, that being 11 or 22 in this case. Add up the digits in your day and reduce that to a single digit or master number. And likewise, add up the digits in your year and then reduce that to a single digit. Bear with me 1 minute. I'm going to let some people in. It does tell me. Look at that.
Oh, that's good.
Bonus. Okay. All right, so here's an example, March 25th, 1959. So we know that this month is a 3. It's the third month, right? So it's a 3. It's a simple single digit number. It's just a 3. We go on to the day. This is my date of birth. So the 25th, 2 and 5 equals 7. All right, so this is going to come down as a 7. And the year, when we add 1959 together, it's going to go 1 plus 9 plus 5 plus 9 equals 24, and 2 and 4 are 6. Okay, so we reduce it to a 6. Now we're going to add them right across, the 3 plus the 7 plus the 6, right? 3 plus 7 plus 6 equals 16. So 1 and 6 equals 7. So my life path number in this case is a 16/7. That means I have to learn the lessons related to the 1, also the 6, and the 7. Okay. Now watch what happens. Oops, sorry. Watch what happens. Commonly, and I'm willing to bet that this is the way most of you have been taught, commonly you would add all the numbers straight across in your date of birth. Okay, so March would be 3, 25th day, 2 plus 5 plus 1 plus 9 plus 5 plus 9 equals 34/7. Okay, well, I'm here to tell you I am not a 34/7, right? If that was the case, the 3 would relate to me learning how to communicate. Clearly, I have no trouble communicating, right? I have no issue. I always say shutting me up is a bigger issue. Okay, so 3 is not my issue. That's not something I need to learn. The 4 relates to being organized, on time, scheduled, planned out, this sort of thing. I've got all that. I don't have to learn any of that. So I was like, I don't get this. This doesn't make sense to me. In fact, you might be familiar with the book, this one here. A lot of us have learned a lot of numerology from this book here, The Life You're Born to Live by Dan Millman. Honestly, guys, it's the best book ever written on the subject of life path numbers. However, I'm going to say on the record, I don't like the way he does his calculations because it's just not accurate. But the descriptions of life path numbers in here are absolutely incredible. So I'm going to suggest that you use the method I'm teaching you and then go into this book as a great resource, and it will really help you quite a bit. The Life You're Born to Live by Dan Millman. So in the case of, I want to go back to this for a second. In the case of March 25th, 1959, had I added it straight across here, not only would I have my sub lessons incorrect, but look here, see this, 16/7, what does that tell us? And I'm not going to really get into this tonight, but 16, that's a karmic debt. And I know, I know straight up, I'm paying back for that one big time, right? So when I learned this method, and it relates to the teachings of Matthew Oliver Goodwin. He was a master numerologist. He died in 1999, I think, but he was a really great numerologist back in the 90s. And this is the way he taught. And when I learned his method, I went, damn straight, I am a 16/7. I get it that I have to learn how to be more independent. I have to learn how to be, more in touch with my creative potential and to be more of a leader, all those sorts of things. And the 6 says I have to learn about balance and responsibility, and that not everything is my responsibility. And no, I don't have to be perfect all the time. Those are lessons I can sink my teeth into. So there's no way you can tell me differently, but I totally respect if it doesn't work for you, that's okay. So long as you connect to some life path number, that's all right with me. But I feel that this is the correct method. All right, let's go and see another example. Common miscalculations. So notice what can happen when we don't break down our numbers individually. So in this case, March 12th of 1940, it says done properly, this equation would look like this. 3 plus 3 plus 5 equals 11, right? 3 for March, 3 for the 12th day, plus the 5. 1 and 9 is 10, plus 4 is 14, and 1 and 4 is 5. Add those together, it comes up as 11, right? Now, any of you who are 11s know that it's an intense number, right? And it would be a shame to tell somebody that they were not an 11 if they in fact were an 11. So the 11 is a master number, therefore it's never reduced. Okay, the 11s stay intact, so the 22s. So it holds significant value. When the number like this, when you have double numbers, double the two numbers that are the same, it's doubling the intensity of that number. So it makes it difficult for people who have that number. So commonly, if you were going to do it like a lot of people would do and just add it straight across, this person comes up as number 20, and 2 plus 0 equals 2. Well, this person is not a 2 life path number. You're missing the fact that they're actually an 11. And 11s feel like they're not from here. This isn't even their planet. Like they have a really hard time connecting the dots to their life plan here. They're very, very sensitive and highly connected, right? So we want to make sure that if you're an 11, that we call you an 11, right? Okay, so I don't know, I just did an example here for Blake Shelton because he's cute. Why else would we do Blake Shelton, right? So Blake Shelton, June 18th of 76. So 6 is the month. The 18th day, add 1 and 8 together, comes to 9. He was born in 1976. Add it together, it comes to 23, and 2 and 3 are 5. So 6 plus 9 plus 5 equals 20. And now we have for Blake's life path number is a 20/2. Now I find this interesting because anybody who knows anything about Blake Shelton knows that he's a megastar in the country music business, but he's also one of the most successful judges they've ever had on The Voice. So the 2 is somebody who works really well with other people. Okay, they love to be, patient, the teacher, the coach, that sort of thing. So it's kind of neat that he comes up as a 20/2. Plus the fact he's the guy that always takes the chances. He'll turn his chair for somebody, even though they're not a country singer. He's just kind of like, yeah, I think I can work with this one. I don't know, there's something about them. Well, remember that 0 in there is all about the intuitive awareness. It's learning to work with your intuitive gifts. Plus the fact that Blake never goes without a woman on his arm. Partnerships are important to him, right? He was married to Amanda Lambert for a little while or whatever, and now he's with, what's her name? I forget now. But the blonde. So, but he always has to have somebody on his arm, always did. So partnership, very important to him. He's a 2, comes by that honestly, right? All right. Reed, do you think we should break for some questions for a minute, or do you want me to keep on going?
Be perfect. This would be a perfect place.
All
yeah.
right.
In case anybody's having trouble with the calculations, or perfect.
Okay. So you can unmute yourself if you need to. So
That's Gwen Stefani, by the way, the blonde.
Thank
that
you.
Blake Shelton is with.
You're right.
How do we add from Stacy? How do we add when we have 11 or 22 in the date of birth?
Great question. So if a person was born in November, that would be the 11th month, you leave it as an 11, leave it whole. If a person was born on the 11th day or the 22nd day, leave it as the 11 or the 22, don't break it down. Likewise, if a person's year of birth comes up as an 11 or a 22, leave it whole. So for example, 1984 adds to 22, you would leave it as 22.
Okay, all right. So,
is there any chance you could add the last slide up again so we could look at the calculations to do ours real quick?
Mm-hmm.
I was close to being done, I thought.
Is this the slide you're looking for?
Yes, that had the total. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So 5th of June, 1988, that would be a 10.
Oops. 10 is dying.
I can't do math that fast, so.
I'm sorry, June the 5th of 1988.
Yeah.
So June comes down as a 6. 5 comes down as a 5. And then we're going to add 1988 together. 1 plus 9 is 10, plus 8 is 18, plus 8 is 26. And then 2 and 6 equal 8. Now we're going to add 6 plus 5 plus 8. And that comes up to 19. Now that's a really interesting point. I'm glad whoever brought this up is bringing up a good point. Because this one adds up to 19. And again, I'm not going to get into karmic debts. That's something we're going to teach in the 4-week program. But the 19 is a karmic debt. Okay, so that says that this person was a leader in a previous lifetime, but a bit of a hard-ass leader. And they're coming back to make amends for that. So in this case, we don't reduce it. And I should mention, there are 4 karmic debt numbers: 13, make note of these, 13, 14, 16, and 19. Those are karmic debts. Now, in the case of doing the calculations on the life path numbers, if your date of birth added up to 13, 14, 16, or 19, then you are going to leave it as that, 13/4, 14/5, okay, 16/7, 19/1. I could go on and on into this one. I'm trying to keep on target, on topic. If you were born on the 13th day, you're going to reduce that. 16th day, same thing. You're going to reduce all those. But when it comes right down to this straight across calculation of the life path number, if it comes up to one of those karmic debts, leave it alone, because we want it to stand out. Remember, mine's a 16/7. I left it alone, 16/7. I don't show it just as a 7 because that tells me there's a karmic debt there, and we need to know that. Okay.
Okay, so a lot of people are asking about making sure that their calculations are correct. So the one thing that does stand out, still a 22. So 22s are, you don't reduce those. Those are just 22. So do they vibrate as a 4?
They vibrate as both. That's why they call them the master numbers. So that if your life path number came up as a 22, it's 22/4. You are learning the double intensity of the number 2 sub lesson. That's why they call it a master number, because it's double intensity of that single digit, 22, 2 2s. That double the need to learn partnership, double the need to learn how to be a team player, double the need to learn patience, and so on and so forth. And then, but at the end of the day, you have to learn all of that so you can be the best 4 you can be. And we're going to go through the numbers here, so that'll help to explain this a lot further. So,
okay, and at 30, 33, and 44, are those master numbers?
yes, yes, they are.
Okay, so they don't get reduced.
Correct.
That's another question. And then a lot of people asking, is this correct? Did I calculate this correctly? And I feel like we just don't have time to go
Don't have
through.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a video link that we can send out afterwards, though, which, well, we're going to be sending this out as well. But I'll also include a video link to a video called How to Calculate Your Life Path Number Correctly. And that's what it's called. If you go to my YouTube channel on Ann Perry Numerologist, search for the video that says, how do I calculate my life path number correctly?
Okay.
If you just search correctly, it'll come up. So, yeah. So you think we're good to go on?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so we're going to go through each one of the numbers. Now, you need to know that there's a positive side and a negative side to each one of the numbers, and we're always vacillating between them, right? So some days you're acting to the positive of your number, and some days you're acting to the negative. So it's understanding, what are we aspiring to be? So what I've done is I've broken this down in such a way. There we go. Then we talk about one of the easiest ways to learn how to speak number, guys, is to associate a keyword with each number. And if that means doing a life path number for your mother, and she comes up as a life path number 8, then call number 8 mom. You know, that helps you to associate with that person and that number and that energy. In this case, I just call it leader. We're talking about the number 1. So the number 1, the life purpose of somebody with a life path number 1 is to gain confidence in your creative potential and to use that potential to inspire other people. So the keyword here is leader. When we think about the number 1, we think about number 1. Those who are number 1s, it's not that they don't care about anybody else, They're just people who are really invested in themselves and moving forward and doing the best they can, right? Now, the strengths of the number one would be somebody who channels a very high energy. They're very inspirational. They're very creative, and they're not afraid of their creativity. They use their creativity to be of service with it, and they feel really secure within themselves. Negative side of the one is somebody who might feel very blocked, very stuck and frustrated, feeling very inferior, kind of sickly, lethargic, insecure, possibly even an addict. That's not uncommon. Curious about what professions would be great for life path number one. So that would include inventors, entrepreneurs, obviously creating something new, right? Management, because they like to be leaders. So military leadership would be great too. Architects, because that's creative. Artists, designers, even lawyers would all fit into a number one life path number. Okay, moving on to number two. So the number one is all about themselves. Number two is going to be about partnership. Okay, so the number two is somebody who's here to master being a team player and maintaining harmonious environments, establishing close and deep connections. Now, I want to pause on that note just for a second. As you guys are making notes, you probably already figured out what your life path numbers are. So as we're working through the numbers from 1 to 9, you want to pay attention to those numbers. So for example, if you happen to be a 17-8, you're going to want to pay particular attention to the number 1, as I'm doing the display here. Number 1, the 7, and the 8. Okay, because that's your code. That's what we're trying to break, the code. If you're a master number 22, it's double the intensity of the number 1 if you're an 11, double the intensity of the 2 if you're 22, double the intensity of the 3 if you're a 33. Make sense? So we're trying to crack the code here. So we want to make sure that we're paying really close attention to each one of these numbers independently, all right? So the 2s are not just about themselves. They are about partnership. They like to be involved in relationships and such, and they are the peacekeepers, very, very sensitive people. Now, Ree, you are an 11, right? So we've got the double intensity of the double energy of the number 1. That's double the need to be the leader, double the need to use your creative potential to inspire and empower other people. You do that every day, right? It's double the need to create something new, invent something that's new and original, different. So it brings a very high vibration and a high demand from you because your soul's contract says, I'm going to do that. I'm going to be original. And sometimes those of you who are 11s, for example, are also 2s, of course. And so the 11 energy holds this big demand to double the intensity of the 1 so that they can be the best 2 they can be. Does that make sense?
That totally makes sense to me. It's, yeah, I get it. And I feel that. I wouldn't feel right in any other number. So yeah.
And sometimes it's scary for the 11s to put themselves out there because the 1 is the masculine and the 2 is the feminine. And so you guys are always jockeying, right? You get the double the masculine. The masculine says, how far can I put it out there? How aggressive can I be? How assertive can I be? How far can I push before they reject me? Because at the end of the day, I'm a 2 and I can't afford to be rejected, right? Because I can't cope without partnership in my life, right? So it's important to acknowledge both sides of that, right? So in the case of the 2, if somebody is a 20/2 or is an 11/2, this applies. You had a question, Reed.
Oh, I was just going to say, we had a couple of people after we're done with this slide. There were a few people asking if they could go back to number 1. Maybe we could go back quickly so they can take a screenshot, but please finish. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's all right. I'll finish number 2 and then we'll go back to number 1 for a second. No problem. Sorry, guys. I know I'm going through this much faster than I would ordinarily teach, but we've got limited time, so sorry. So the strengths of somebody of the life path number 2 would be somebody who has a very clear sense of personal boundaries, right, and limitations. They support themselves and they support others in equal measure. They don't overly give, right? They're constantly, sorry, I'm letting people in. Their strengths are that they can give to themselves. They can self-care, right? And they can also do for others as well without constantly overdoing it and then feeling resentful after the fact. All right. So the weaker side is that this is somebody who can feel very overwhelmed, very resistant, very reactive, kind of the drama queen a little bit. Starts out really helpful, and then all of a sudden they withdraw. They feel like they're being taken advantage of, and so they just pull away. But at the end of the day, these guys make great teachers. They make great counselors and doctors and nurses and therapists. You can see a theme here, right? They love to work one-on-one closely with people. They really love that. They're really great caregivers, great in real estate because they like that one-on-one interaction with people, good politicians, pastoral care workers, anything to do on a consultative level. You know, if you want to get into consultative selling like insurance or car sales or whatever, working one-on-one with people, it's a great number for that. All right, let's go back to number 1 for a second for those who needed to see that. And we're going to be sending out this recording too, Reed, so that they'll be able to go back and review this as well.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
So I have a question while people are looking this over. So if a person has the life path number 1, will they be presented with challenges that have them step up to the plate so they have to be that leader? So maybe they had difficulties with speaking up or whatever, and now they had to teach themselves.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So in your case, and even in my case, because I'm a 16-7, so one of my sub lessons is a 1, right? And 2 of your sub lessons are 1s. So we had to learn to gain confidence within ourselves to put our own stuff out there rather than create programs or do other people's programs, you know, that sort of thing. I've done other people's programs before, but never have I found as much satisfaction as when I created my own programs.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's stepping into that spotlight, if you will, of your own original creations. It's about our originality, creativity, authenticity, all of that.
Yeah, Samara says she totally resonates with number 1, and somebody from my membership group also got a 1, and I can totally see him as a 1. So yeah, awesome, cool. Awesome stuff.
All right, let's go on to number 3 for a second. Oops. Okay. So it's all going to come together for you here in a minute, I promise. So the life path number 3, remember, number 1 is all about who? Themselves, right? Getting ahead, being original, being creative. It's, I got to do this, right? It's all about me doing it. The 2 is not just about themselves, but they're about themselves and one other person. So they're the guys that are into partnerships, okay? They're learning patience and diplomacy and partnership. So they're, and then when we come into the 3 isn't just about themselves. They're not just about the partner. Here comes the group dynamic, right? So that's 3. So the life path number 3 is here to learn how to express their emotions with sensitivity and to maintain a positive, carefree attitude. These guys are the communicators. They love to communicate. They love to write. They like to be on stage. They like to be comedians. You know, they love to use their words to inspire people. So they engage in very heartfelt when they're strong in their 3. This is somebody who engages in heartfelt, uplifting expression, communicates with inspiration, sensitivity, and joy. They're fun, you know, they're not really judgmental or whatever. They're really on board. They're just a fun, light, sunny kind of energy to be with. And they're typically the comedians, right? They have a really good wit and sense of humor about them, but they just love the group dynamic. They don't, you know, the number 2 is somebody that works better one-on-one with people, small office arrangement or whatever. The number 1, they can do either way. They can work by themselves independently, or they can work in the group so long as they're the leader. Okay? But the 2s kind of don't like the big group dynamic. They don't like all that, but the 3 loves the group dynamic. So think about that. If one of your sub lessons is a 3, for example, if you're a 13-4 or you're a 23-5, that sort of thing, you might be falling to the weaker side because that's a lesson. It's a sub lesson. It's not necessarily a gift for you. It's your sub lesson. So consider the weakness when you're looking at it at your sub lessons. So this is somebody who's feeling depressed and disappointed. They become overly sensitive. They're complaining, bitching and griping, judging themselves. They're filled with self-doubt. Their self-ridicule is terrible. They can suffer a lot of depression. Those who 12-3s in particular, When we look at the number, the life path number of 12-3, 1-2/3, we have somebody who is struggling with, do I want to be by myself? Or do I just want to hang out with one other person right now? Or do I want to be with the crowd? I don't know. I don't know, because threes are scattered and they can't make their minds up very easily. Okay, and so they get really, they're not as grounded as say a 4 is, for example. Which brings me to another point. You're going to see as these numbers roll out that there are polar opposites. The 1 wants to be alone, 2 wants partnership. 2 wants partnership, 3 wants the crowd. 3 isn't very organized, the 4 is, right? So it's always like this, polar opposites. Read, you want
that one who is socially anxious?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Definitely can be, because remember the 2 isn't really crazy about the whole group dynamic, and yet the 3 says, right, but it's my life path number and I aspire to be the groupie, you know? But the 2 says, oh, I prefer it just one-on-one. And the 1 says, you got to get out there, you know, you got to be on your own and independent. Well, I don't want to because I'm kind of scared. Yeah, but the 3 says you got to be out there. A lot of conflict going on there, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to address a couple of questions before I move on?
Sure, let me see. Okay, so I did send the link to Tracy. Oh, actually, I guess there are no new questions.
I have a question. Can I ask here?
Oh,
Sure.
So since I have 3, I have 13/4. So 3, it could be person like, you say they want it more in crowd, but it could be they want to be in crowd and they want to go back to be alone. It could be because I feel that I like to be around people and talk to them, but then I wanted to be my own too.
Yeah. So you're a 13/4, are you, Samara?
Yes.
Right. Okay. So you've got a karmic debt in your life path number. Okay. And so the karmic debt relates to learning how to live your life from a half full cup rather than the half empty cup. Because in a previous lifetime, you were somebody that didn't really pay attention to the details. And this will make more sense to you when we go to number 4 in a minute. Because the 4 is very, very detail oriented. But the 3, which is your sub lesson, right, says that you can be a little scattered, right? You can be kind of all over the place, and it's difficult for you to kind of knuckle down and get to work. So, and the one is also about, it's about becoming confident within yourself, with your creative potential, and to use your words, like possibly writing, okay, so that you can create that foundation in your life that you want.
Makes sense.
Makes sense? Good. Thank
you.
All right. Moving on to number 4. No, I'm not. I'm going to go to introducing composite numbers. Okay, so this is where the hard work comes. And this is why the way that I teach numerology is not like you're going to see it from anybody else. But I hope that you'll appreciate this. This is what we call introducing composite numbers. So just to kind of break up the monotony of just looking at all the numbers, let's go play here for a minute. So what is a composite number? Well, we've kind of talked about composite numbers already. Composite number is when a life path number adds up to a double digit. The numbers to the left of the slash tell us that it's a composite number. Okay, so you're a composite number. You're an 11/2. Okay, I'm a 16/7. That's a composite number. 1 and 6 equal 7. Now it is possible, I should address that there are some people in this group who might have come up with a life path number that just simply adds up to a single digit. Okay, so my son is a case in point. You know, I'm a 16/7. My ex-husband's a 25/7, but my son is just a 7, straight up. That's just how it rolled out. Okay, so you don't always have sub lessons. Most people do, but we don't all have them. So in this case, we're looking at June 5th of 1981. Do the math. June equals 6. 5th day equals 5. 1981 added across comes to 19. 1 and 9 equals 10. 1 and 0 equal 1. So now we're going to add 6 plus 5 plus 1 equals 12. So this is a sub lesson. Pardon me, this is a composite number. 1 and 2 are the sub lessons to this composite number. All right, so let's go and see how we read that. So we know, as we just to reframe, Sublessons are the weaknesses which need to be recognized if they're going to be overcome. So what I've done here is I've broken it down. So this is a life path number 12-3 that we're looking at. So we have 1, 2, and 3. So the life purpose related, or the energy related to the number 1 is about creativity and confidence, right? We've talked about that earlier. So anybody with a 1 sublesson is learning independence, learning how to get comfortable with their creativity, to learn confidence. We know that the 2 relates to cooperation and balance, okay, and being a good partner, being a good collaborator and team player. The 3 is all about expression and sensitivity. So I'm not going to go through this because it's kind of redundant, but to give you an idea, this is somebody who's going to channel high energy and inspiration into creativity and service and feels really secure with themselves. And this is the opposite side of it. Again, you'll be able to review this when we show you when we send out the video after the fact. But this is how it's going to roll out. This is what I'm hoping you're going to learn how to do once you learn what the numbers all mean. Okay. So John Smith is a 12-3. So we know his sublessons are related to the 1 and the 2, and his big lesson is the number 3. So John is here to learn how to be independent. That relates to the 1. In his efforts to embrace his creative potential so that he can inspire others. That also relates to the number 1. He also needs to learn how to be a team player, relating to number 2, while establishing clear boundaries in the way that he gives of his time. He has to be careful not to overgive. That relates to the 2. He needs to learn to balance himself by learning how to express his emotions in a joyful and positive way while releasing that grip of self-doubt and criticism. And that relates to the 3. That's a whole lot different than saying he's a 3 life path, right?
Totally. Yeah, it's so in depth. I had no idea. I did not know.
Yeah.
So James asked if 7, he accidentally wrote incarcerated, but he said if your son was a pure path number, pure life path number 7, does that have anything to do with how many times he's incarnated or had, many lives? Or
there's no way to really know that for sure, but my belief system on that says that if somebody is coming in with just simply a 7 or simply a 6 or a 9 or whatever the number is, I believe it's because either they've already learned a lot about the sublessons, so there's no need to learn that in this lifetime. Although my son is really not an example of that, God bless him. He's my challenge. However, it could be, in the example of my son, he might have said, listen, I really want to master the number 7. It's really challenging me. I just want to go straight up, hardcore. Let's do the 7 this time. So it's interesting that he was raised by a 16-7 and a 25-7, and he is simply a 7. You talk about mixed up dynamics in that house.
yeah.
Do you want to answer any other questions or address any others before I go on?
I don't think so. Tracy is asking about her life path number, but because she was here late, so I'll just calculate hers actually, and you can keep going. Yeah.
Perfect. Excellent. Okay. This is composite number 24-6. I know we haven't covered the 4 or the 6 yet, but to give you another idea, Mary Smith, she's here to learn the lessons related to the number 2. We know that's about cooperation and balance. The number 4 is going to be, as we discuss it, stability and process, and the 6 will be about vision and acceptance. So again, the paragraph that goes for that would be, Mary is here to learn the lessons of the 2, and that relates to being cooperative while maintaining balance in her life. And she also needs to learn how to pay attention to the details, which relates to the number 4, while creating a step-by-step plan, also relating to the 4. She needs to learn to release that grip of perfectionism and high standards relating to the number 6, while accepting the perfection that already exists in everything. Isn't this cool?
Yes.
Right? It's pretty intense.
Yeah,
It's pretty intense. All right. Okay, let's take a look at number 4. Let's recap for a second. 1 is all about who? Themselves. Right? It's all about re.
Yeah, exactly.
2 is about you and me and you. Okay. The 3 is about the crowd. The 4 says, I want to be grounded, because those guys aren't. Right? So we're going to go look at the number 4. So the 4 is the planner, right? Think when you ever talk about the number 4, I want you to think about 4 posts into the ground. Okay, 4 posts into the ground always. So life path number 4, to approach life with a step-by-step plan, to be of practical and grounded service. So this is somebody who really relies on stability. They're very much about a plan. These guys, when they wake up in the morning, they want to know what's going on. They don't cope particularly well with change. Remember, we got polar opposites going on. The 3 is kind of flighty and all over the place, and anything goes, and everything rock and roll. Let's party, let's socialize. And here comes the 4 that says, nope, nope, no. We have to play by the rules, right? Rules are made for a reason. I like structure. I like to know what's going on. I don't fly by the seat of my pants, right? These guys are kind of serious. So they are the planners. Now, their strength is that they prepare well and they progress step by step. They patiently follow through. They finish what they start. They can balance logic and emotion. They're just very grounded people. They feel really comfortable to be with. They can be kind of stick in the muds to people who are 3s and just want to go, 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 or to a 5 who just wants their freedom. The 4 is just that steady, slow and steady wins the race kind of person. So the weaker side of the 4 is that they want it all now, right? They want to skip the steps. Now, Samara, you've got the life path number, the 13-4, right? So this relates to, being that person who might want to skip out on the steps, gets bored really easily and just wants to kind of just go for it, they can be very ambitious, but they can also be very impatient, and they can get very confused, and they don't want to read the manual, like no way. So they'll lack stability or follow through, and that kind of gets you into trouble a little bit. But in terms of the professions that these guys are good at, anything to do with blueprints, so contractors and builders and engineers, that sort of thing, forecasting, spreadsheets. These guys make great accountants and bean counters. They're really good financial planners. Law and order for the lawyers. Landscaping, because they like to plan things out. Architects, obviously, with blueprints. It's all good. So it's a very polar opposite number to what the 3 is. And the 4 is going to be polar opposite to the 5. As we go in and look at number 5, number 5. So these guys are the freedom fighters. Okay, the 4 wants to know what's going on all the time. When they retire, they want to wake up on Monday and know that this is what they have to do, followed by that. They are very much about their money. They're very much about security. They got to know their bills are paid. The 5s live for the moment, right? They are freedom fighters. So their challenge is to resist scattering their energy in too many places. They need to put themselves into situations where they can learn through doing. So the 5s typically love to travel, and they learn best through travel and life experiences, right? So they're really good at learning through experience. So it's good for them to sign up for courses that are away from home, that sort of thing. Anything travel related would be good for them. They get bored very, very easily. So they're not your 9-to-5s, right? These guys do not like the 9-to-5. They're very much about making sure that they are changing it up, shaking it up, making it different. They can't sit behind the desk, so to speak. So the strength of the 5 is that they are multifaceted. They're usually very, very talented in a whole lot of different ways. When they're really strong, it's when they are using their talents in a very focused way. Focus is not their friend, okay? So they need to apply discipline to achieve the independence that they want, okay? If anybody out there is a 14-5, the 14-5 has a karmic debt. And when we break it down, we have 1, 4, and 5. Okay, so we know the 5 is about their freedom, but in order for that 14-5 to get their freedom, they have to first do the number 1, develop confidence within their ability to create a step-by-step plan, that's the 4, so that they can have the 5, which is the freedom that they want. I don't want to get into the whole karmic debt thing that happens in my course later on, but that's what it breaks down to. Okay, so the 5 has to learn how to focus if they're really going to accomplish anything. So on the weaker side, the 5s tend to be the addicts. Like most 5s are addicted to various things. Could be food, drugs, alcohol, bingo, Amazon, right? Shopping. But they'll swing from one extreme to the other, of dependence to independence. They get very scattered. They're all over the place because they bore really easily, and it's shiny object syndrome, right? They're everywhere. So they try to do too much, and then they're bluffing their way out of paper bags, and they're trying to pretend their way out of circumstances they've gotten themselves into. And but you know, I wish I had known numerology when I was raising my oldest, because he's a 14-5. And you know, it's funny, he and his wife are expecting a baby in July, and we did a virtual shower for them last night, and I had sent his wife a whole bag full of old report cards from him and when he was in school. And everyone starts out with, Jeffrey was very disruptive in class today, right? Every single one of them, all the comments. And it cracked me up, and I was so worried about him. And I thought, oh my God, he's gonna be pumping gas for the rest of his life, you know? Like he's never, ever going to be independent the way he wants to, because he's not focused. He won't go to post-secondary and blah, 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 all these expectations. But had I known that he was a 5, particularly a 14-5, I wouldn't have worried about him, because I would have known, get him out of school. He is not the kind of kid that needs to learn through the books. He needs to learn through experience. Put him out there. He used to say, you know, don't teach me algebra. A plus B equals C. That is not going to help me buy my groceries. So that's how the 5 thinks. It's like, goes right over their heads. They don't want to learn it because it doesn't apply to them, right? So this is kind of where the 5s are coming from. So I wish I'd known that, because I was trying to cram this round peg into a square hole where he didn't belong. And you know, my son is 38, and he'll be a millionaire by the time he's 50 if it takes that long. That's how well he's doing. He just had to do it his way. That's true for all 5s.
I needed to hear that.
Yeah.
My youngest son is a 5, and he actually was diagnosed with autism and ADD, and school has been such a struggle. So
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. But give him experiences, Reed. Seriously, give him experiences, because half these kids, my son was diagnosed with ADD. He certainly doesn't have it. By the time he got to grade 7, his grade 7 teacher was like, he doesn't have ADD. Are you kidding me? Teach him what he wants to learn.
Exactly.
Just tap into what he wants and what he needs. Yeah.
Totally. So I don't know if you think now is a good time, because we do have a couple of cool questions. Is this okay? Or do you want to wait?
Let me just finish number 5, and then we'll go into that.
Oh, I didn't know I thought you were done. I'm sorry.
That's okay. So the jobs that would be really great for people who are 5s are ones that don't keep them behind a desk. Okay, these are the flight attendants, pilots, stuntmen. These are firefighters, you know, the risk, construction workers, high risk ventures. They love to gamble, right? Remember that money is not important to them. They live for the moment. So they don't really squirrel away their money like the 4s do. So anything that involves a little bit of a risk and a little bit of a gamble is exciting for the 5, or anything that keeps them outside and away from the desk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds just like my son, actually. So the questions are, if you have a life path number, a higher life path number, I guess, meaning the master number, does that mean that you have learned all of, oh no, like if you're a 9, let's say, learned all the other lessons?
I don't. So all these lifetimes are all linear, right? So I don't know that I aspire to that. I know that, for example, somebody who is a 9 is typically an older soul. They are here to learn how to be the humanitarians, to be there for everybody else, that sort of thing. But to say that they're coming up to the end of the road, I don't feel that. I feel that it's more related to choice. And I have chosen to be a 9 life path number. Therefore, these are the lessons I have chosen to learn. Remember, this is all about choice and how you choose your life path number. And if you choose sub lessons, that changes the experience, right? So you might have been an 18-9 in a previous lifetime. This time around, you said, well, okay, I kind of worked on that, so let's do 27-9 this time.
Makes total sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Samara asks about your course, which I'm assuming we're all going to get the information about by the end of this. So she wants to sign up. So that's awesome. So
cool. I'd love to have you as a guest, Samara. That'd be fun.
Yeah. So I guess we'll talk about that at the end.
Yeah.
And yes, Lynn said that she loved her session with you. And that's about it. I just wanted to address those before I lost them.
No worries. All right, let's go on to door number 6. Interesting to note, when you look at the number 6, it looks like a big, round, pregnant belly. Okay, this is an easy one to remember. This is the nurturer, right? This is the one that loves to take care and nurture others. So when we look at the 6, remember the 5 wants their freedom. They don't want to be responsible for anything. They just want to go, right? But the 6 comes in with this huge need to be responsible, to be all about their families and to be the nurturers. So the 6 is here to understand that there's perfection in all things, okay? They are the perfectionists and they're really working on that, to learn to be of service to others, but in a balanced way, rather than always having to be the one that's responsible. Now, when you look at me and my life path number, the 16-7, the 6 is my sub lesson. So I know that I'm here to learn that not everything is my responsibility. I don't have to feel responsible or guilty about not doing things. I don't have to make sure that everything is perfect. I have to understand that everything rolls out in, divine perfection. That's why Ree knows they call me One Take Annie. Like, I don't edit.
Yes.
I don't edit. If we screw up, we screw up, whatever, right? We just move on and just, admit we screwed up and just keep going. But that's been a big one for me to do that, to be vulnerable and to allow myself to be that. So the 6 does relate to a lot of need for perfectionism, but they are the nurturers. They love to take care of people, particularly as it relates to their family. All right, so their strength is that they see the bigger picture. They can be very forgiving and patient, and they do really excellent work without falling into that need for perfection. They accept themselves and they accept others, no judgment, right? But on the negative side, and everybody has a sister-in-law like this, right, is they can be super hypercritical, very judgmental against themselves and others, very perfectionistic standards with their kids, their husbands, their parents, with in-laws, outlaws, all of it. Like the standards are like sky high. And they get really lost in the petty details. They get all wrapped up in the family drama, that kind of stuff. That's the negative side of the 6. But the 6s are great teachers, right? They like to be of service. They love to teach things. They want to be the leaders, especially as it relates to your family. If there's a family reunion that's going to be planned, give it to the 6, because if they'll go kicking and screaming if you don't give it to them, because they want the control, right? So this is, these can be social workers, these can be teachers, florists, because they have a real interest in the home and beautification, right? These are the Martha Stewarts. Healers, daycare workers, animal services. They love animals typically, and animals love them. So anything to do with interior decorating, feeding people, social work, that sort of thing. When you go to a 6's home, the first thing they're going to ask you is, are you hungry? Are you thirsty? Are you tired? Don't sit in that chair. That's not the comfortable chair. Sit in this chair, right? They're just very giving in that respect. They want you comfortable in their home. Now, the 6 is all about the family. The 6 is all about what can I do for the family? And that can be work family and that can be biological family. When we come into the 7 says, back off. I want to be by myself, right? So this is the number 7. So the 7, everything within the 7 relates to being a head case, okay? I can say that affectionately because I am one. I have 3 7s in my chart, actually. So when you look at the number 7, see how the 7 is drawn? Think about that as the head, okay? We are head cases. We are thinkers. We're not real feelers, not that we don't feel, but our default is to go here to what we think rather than what we feel. So this is people who with the life path number 7 are here to learn how to trust with in a higher power to provide for them, to not worry about things, to learn to trust their intuition and their inner guidance. It's about learning how to surrender to something bigger than ourselves. Because we are head cases, we are the analysts, and we are guilty of overthinking all the time. However, having said that, working on the strength of the 7, these are people who are, trust their innermost feelings. They're really tapped into their intuition. They can trust others enough to open their hearts. That's difficult for them to be vulnerable and to allow people into their heart space. They're willing to take emotional risks. They're willing to share their feelings and to be a little bit more vulnerable. The weaker side is that they can feel very bitter, very betrayed and paranoid. They'll use their minds as a shield. They don't trust themselves. They don't trust other people. They're very suspicious at times. And the thing with the sevens, if you are a 7, or if you have a sub-lesson of 7, I want you to try and eliminate the word think from your vocabulary. Because every time you say, I think something, what happens energetically is the brain opens up. Okay, and the brain opens up and goes, oh, you want to think something? Okay, I'm here, I'm on deck, let's do it, right? But what else lives next door to your brain? Is your ego. And your ego is ready to go, you don't know that. Why would you even think that? You're so stupid. What would you, and they'll crush you like a bug, your ego will. So we don't want to go up there. What we want to do, the 7 needs to work hard. Whether there's a sub-lesson or a life path number, we need to work really hard to get from here to here, okay? And so what we're going to do is eliminate the word think in favor of the words I feel. It's kind of foreign to us. But because if I said to you, if you have a 7 in there, if I said, hey, how do you feel about this? I promise you, you're going to answer, well, I think we should do that. That's just the way it is. So if we start saying I feel, what'll happen is you start making heartfelt decisions, ones that you can hang your hat on. Remember, the 7s are overthinking everything, second guessing everything. They have a really hard time making decisions about things because they're always wondering, with self-doubt. But if you say I feel, it allows you to tap in and connect to what you actually feel, allowing you to make more confident decisions. So we make really great psychics and intuitives and numerologists. Selfless plug. Scientists and teachers and pastoral care workers, investigators, metaphysicians, anything to do with the spiritual. That's where the wheelhouse is for the 7s. Now you can see that the 7 is polar opposite of the 8. The 7 says, I need time by myself. I really need downtime. I work better by myself. I get really tired of the family thing all the time. I don't need people in front of my face all the time. I need my downtime. Not to say I don't enjoy my family, but I need downtime, right? The 7s need time to decompress. In comes the 8 energy, and the 8 says, I want to be the leader. I want to be the manager. I'm all over that, right? I want to make some serious money. So these guys are here to learn lessons around money, but also around power and authority. Now, if anybody's a life path number 8 in here, you might be saying, well, that's great, Anne, but everything on the internet says the 8 is all about, oh, we got all kinds of nice things and yachts and bags of money and nice mansions and cars. And not so much. And it really, the life path number 8 is one of the most complex numbers, I feel, of all of the numbers from 1 to 9. And I feel that because there is this misconception to say that you guys have got tons of money. But where in fact, the 8 relates to learning how much power you have and how much you don't. Learning the big lessons about how am I teaching people how to treat me? If you're not making enough money, it's because you're teaching your employer that you're not worth anything more, right? You come home every week with your paycheck and you bitch and you gripe because you only made this much money for working 60 hours, but you're not telling your boss. You're telling your husband, you're telling your wife, but you're not telling your boss, okay? So that's a bit of a problem, okay? Because when it comes to money, the money comes from self-worth. So if your self-worth is not in check, if you do not feel worthy of more money, you will not make more money. It's simple as that. And that's one of the biggest lessons that the 8 has to learn. So, but when we operate in the positives, where the 8s are people who really enjoy abundance and they really they enjoy influence without concern or abuse. They're not trying to showboat or anything. They like to make money. They'll share their blessings generously and wisely. My personality is an 8. And last year, God bless COVID in my respect, because I had a really outstanding year last year, best year I've ever had on so many levels, but in particular financially, it was a really great year. And I remember feeling kind of guilty about it. And I thought, whoa, there's a limiting self-belief there. I was spending a lot of money. I was making the money, I was spending the money. But then I thought, wow, you know what? This is so cool because the fact that I'm making money that I didn't make before, I'm able to spend it. And even though my original go-to was feel guilty about that, I recognized that, wait a minute, I bought this, that person benefited because I bought it from them and their business did better, right? And there was just so much, it just felt really, really great. The more I made, the more I could share. And the fact is, any of you who are in the service-based industry, you need to know, especially if you have 8 energy in your chart, you need to know that you have to chase the opportunity to be of service, not the opportunity to make the money. That is where the 8s go wrong. That's where it goes all ass backwards. Okay. When you're chasing the opportunity to make the money, you're pushing the boulder uphill. When you're chasing the opportunity to be of service, the money will come, the opportunities to be of service will come, and guess what? You'll be rewarded so that, you know, you can be of service again. Okay. What comes in goes out. So, but it's a tricky one. The 8's a real tricky one. The weaker side is that they are afraid of, and yet they're preoccupied with issues around money, really struggling about it, wondering where it's coming from. Why can't I get ahead? You know, this is something I teach in my Just Do You program, is it's all related to, you know, feeling more confident with making money, especially those of you who are in the spiritual industry. You know, it's sometimes difficult to ask for payment for what are our spiritual gifts. Like if they're gifts, then why should we be charging for them? So we help you to kind of wrap your head around that a little bit better. So, you know, you might have issues with regards to power and control, maybe a temper tantrum or two, you know, anger issues, needing more recognition, sabotaging yourself. And again, this could relate to a sub lesson if you're a 7, pardon me, if you're like an 18-9 or a 28-1, that kind of thing. All right, so we are looking at managers, we're looking at executives, we are looking at investors. These guys are really good working with other people's money, sometimes not so well with their own, but they make really great bankers and such. Law enforcement, military leaders, and that sort of thing. Okay, let's do number 9 and then we'll open for questions for you. Is that okay?
That's perfect.
Okay. So the number 9, the eights have a real interest in making it. They like their bling. They like to make serious money. They aspire to make a lot of money. Make no apologies for it because most 8s are really willing to work very hard for it. But the 9, on the other hand, wants to make it so they can give it away, right? So these are the humanitarians. These guys need to learn how to be of selfless service to humanity and to find ways to lead by example for the benefit of others. These are the healers. Okay, these guys love to find solutions to things. I like to call them the fixers. So the biggest lesson that the 9 is here to learn, or the sub lesson of 9, is you can't fix anyone. You can help them to help themselves, but you cannot fix them. So rather than your brother coming to you month after month saying, can you pay my car payment because I'm really stuck this month? Rather than you saying to yourself, wow, this really sucks, but I've got the money. I'd feel awful if I didn't help him out. So yeah, all right, whatever, you know, give you back when you can, kind of thing. Wrong. You're not helping him. You are enabling him. Okay. So you want to set it up in such a way that he earns it. So it might be saying, you know what, mom needs some help with her garage or whatever. You go take care of that issue and then you come back and we'll talk. Give him the opportunity to earn it. Give him the opportunity to save face and to have a little bit of integrity rather than just getting a handout all the time. Teach them how to help themselves. Give them solutions rather than being the person who finds the solutions to everything or has that need to fix everything. So the 9 is somebody who lives in alignment with their higher principles because they do have high integrity and higher principles. They want to lead by example. They manifest a depth and charisma and wisdom like nobody else. Very warm people to be with typically. Unless they're acting to the negative, they can be really difficult to be with. The 9s can be. They do have a big fear of rejection and abandonment. It's very common with 9s. And I feel that that's because they want to be such a big part of the humanitarian effort. So when they're rejected, they're not allowed to live out their purpose, if that makes sense. So this is somebody who's lost their sight or their higher purpose. Just a second. Nadia, you're writing all over my screen, wherever you are. So whatever you're doing, stop doing it. I can say that because I know Nadia well. Okay, it's an interesting graphic. Thank you for that. Or not. Okay, so this is somebody who's lost sight of their higher purpose, you know, their need to give. They feel lonely and cut off. So somebody who has been a social worker their whole lives, okay, now all of a sudden they're retired. They're without purpose. They've got to get themselves involved in something that allows them to support humanity on some level. So it could be some volunteer work or whatever. Okay, so they get locked in their minds, they get out of touch with their hearts, and their intuitive guidance. So they run into trouble that way. But these are guys who are really great in the military. They're the peacekeepers, the social workers, anything to do with the environment, politics. You know, they love to work outside. They really connect well to the earth. Okay, they're like an earthy kind of a number. They make great surveyors, landscapers, anything to do with working outside. Okay.
Awesome. I actually have a question about the 9 specifically. So 3 times 3 is 9. I know this is a strange question, but is there any relationship there? Is there any relationship between 2 and 4, because 2 is, you know, doubled and creates 4, or is that just not the case in numerology?
Not sure I'm understanding the question. Are you asking what is the significance of seeing 333? Is that what you're asking?
No, I guess I want to know if, in a way, like how I'm a master 11, so 1 and 1 is like I'm really learning like double the lesson of the ones.
Yes.
I feel like 3 and 9 are closely related because it's just 3 times 3. I know that's a strange question, but I'm wondering if the numbers kind of interrelate with each other like that.
So if you're saying that you feel a connection to the 3 and the 9, it's possible that it's showing up somewhere else in your chart. It's not related to the 11, other than the fact that you do, you know, Master 11s have a need to inspire with their words, okay? And they need to double it up regarding to their independence and their creativity and all of that. Now, the 22s, on the other hand, these guys, they feel the need to create something too, but they are more concrete builders. They're the master builders, right? The 22 4s are the ones that actually are going to create some kind of structure that will support humanity on some level, okay? So, but their sub-lesson is the 2. So that's double the need for partnership, double the need for collaboration, double the need for patience and getting people involved with your mission. So if the 22-4 has an idea of what they want to do, they think they need to do it by themselves, but that's the lesson. They're not meant to do it by themselves. You, on the other hand, are meant to do it on your own. But the 22s are meant to engage a whole bunch of people to invest in their vision to help them to create that foundation, okay? You, on the other hand, need to use your words and put it out there and create something and develop independence and creativity and courage. I mean, look at you going live on YouTube. What the heck is that, you know? that just blows my mind. I'm not there, right? But you're doing it, right? And so in order for you to build your business and to build your following and to build community so that you can work one-on-one with people and make a difference, you have to get in touch with that double 1 energy. Somebody is not muted.
Yeah, I was just going to say, whoever, could everybody just check, make sure they're muted so we're not getting feedback?
Yeah, that'd be great.
That's noise, please.
Perfect. Okay. They're not muted.
Yeah, please mute anybody who's not muted. Make sure that you're muted. Left-hand corner in the bottom.
Can't do it.
Oh,
I can, Nadia. There you go. Okay. So
it seems like there are a few questions, so I can go right in if you're ready, Anne.
So we've got 11 and 22 to go yet, but let's go through some questions first, and then we'll finish up with 11 and 22.
Perfect. Yeah. Oh, I'm dying to hear both of those. Okay, so Clark asks, how do you explain what we want to learn this or that if we don't remember what happened in our past lives?
So that's where trust comes in. So the concept, Clark, is that prior to your birth, you would have sat down with a group of spirit guides, and this is what created your soul's contract. Okay, so you would have given careful consideration to what numbers you wanted to place in your date of birth so that it would create the life path number that you're working with. Okay, so no, you probably have no recollection as to what the lessons are or why or whatever, unless you do some past life regression stuff or maybe dive into the Akashic records and things like that. But when we break down the 4 core numbers that we look at numerologically, we know that the life path number relates to the relates to the lessons you want to learn. Then we look at your name on your birth certificate. Now, you didn't choose your name on your birth certificate. You did, however, choose the vibration of your birth name. So for example, my life path number is a 16-7. The 7 says, I want to be by myself. I'm a spiritual teacher, but I don't really want to put myself out there, right? Because I like to meditate and be quiet and work by myself. So I brought in, as my expression number that comes from my full name on my birth certificate, I brought in a 5. The 5 says, sure, I can do a live event. Sure, I can do YouTube. I can do Facebook Lives. I can do whatever. I don't care. It's fine. I don't mind a little bit of the limelight so I can get my message across. But I had to choose a number that would support me. So your full name on your birth certificate is going to bring in your talent and your gift that you chose to bring with you to support you on your journey as whatever your life path number is. And likewise, we look at the vowels in your birth name and the vowels in your birth name. This is all stuff I'm going to be teaching in the 4-week course. The vowels in the birth name relate to what you're passionate about. A lot of people don't know, especially people who are 6s and always putting themselves out there for everybody else. They've got no sweet clue what they're passionate about because they're too busy taking care of everyone else. So I'm hoping that helps to explain it a little bit better.
Yeah, that's why everybody needs a reading from you.
Yeah, that's true.
It's so detailed. It really is. When you did mine, I was blown away. I had no idea it was so detailed, so involved. So if you have a 5 in your birthday, I guess like the number of the day that you were born, would that explain a free spirit?
Yes, absolutely. Because the day, and again, this is something we cover in the full course, but the day of birth is actually also a sub lesson to the main lesson, that being your life path number. So yes, if you were born on the 5th day, you've got definitely a need for your freedom, a little scattered, maybe a shopper, possibly maybe some issues with food, alcohol, drugs, whatever. And it doesn't have to be, a negative addiction. It can be addicted to learning, addicted to taking courses, addicted to whatever, right? Checking your phone, things like that.
Yes. So Lynn asks, you had me having a 7 in my karmic lesson reading, in my reading with you. What does that mean? Is that the same thing? I think she might mean like the lesson number is a karmic number, the same as the lesson number.
Okay, so karmic lessons are different than karmic debts. So karmic lessons are when there are missing letters in your name. So all of the letters that relate to the number 7, you didn't have any. So it indicates that there is a karmic lesson of 7. So look back at, when we share this recording later, look back at the number 7 and what that means. And the 7 relates to learning how to trust and learning to take courses like this, to explore spirituality and things like that. So it's a need to develop, in your case, the 7 karmic lesson is a need to develop a connection to the divine greater than what you possibly already have.
Okay, all right. Let me see. I'm trying to scroll down, but I'm having a hard time. Hold on, I do have one more question. 11/11/1978 is the birthday. Life path 11, and my expression number is also 11. I don't know why I did that to myself. I also
Me neither.
I know that's a lot to ask of yourself. Wow, it's been very helpful for me to have somebody who really understands me. Yes, Anne is an amazing reader. Yes, I can attest to that.
You're sweet. Okay, so then if you've done your calculations correctly that you're actually a 2911. Okay, so go to YouTube and search on my channel 2911, and there's going to be a video that will come up that will explain to you in more detail what the 2 and the 9 mean to the 11, because there are several ways you can be an 11. I'm actually, anybody who's part of my Master Number 11 membership, I do have a Master Number 11 membership. It's being revamped 100% right now. So there's a bunch of new handouts and PDF documents being handed out and all kinds of new stuff going in there. So I was just doing it this afternoon, creating a new handout for the 2911s. So you might want to check that out too.
Awesome. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to hear what is about to come up.
All right. We want to move on?
Yeah, there's no in the membership.
We still have Nadia's artwork here. I can't get rid of it, so I'm sorry. Anyway, so what is a master number? So anytime a number repeats itself, it is referred to as a master number. So for example, the 11, 22, 33, 44, I think we've all got that, right? So they are considered composite life path numbers, and they indicate an older soul. So anytime you see a master number, you know that you're dealing with somebody who's had previous lifetimes, because you are not given the opportunity to work on master number 11s, 22s, 33s, etc., unless you've had enough previous lifetime experience with which to handle it in this lifetime. Okay. So the numbers to the left of the slash are the numbers that are intended to be mastered. And I think this is so funny, because as I taught you earlier, there is a way to do the calculation correctly, and there's a way to do it, in my opinion, incorrectly. So if you, excuse me, if you do something incorrectly and it comes up as a 20/2, and that person all along thought they were an 11, there's a lot of people who get really pissed off because they're not 11s. And I'm like, no, you don't get it. There's no notoriety to being a master number. It's a tough job, right? Not many people want to sign up for it, but you know, if you're a 20/2, that's good news, right? That is not bad news. But there's this association with the word master that implies you're something special. But you're not. You're here to work on something, to master something. Okay, it's not that you are a master of anything, but that you have agreed to master the number that which is duplicated. Okay, so in the case of the number 11, this is somebody who has the double intensity of the 1 is the lesson. So this is double creativity, originality, independence, so on and so forth. So when we look at the number 11, this is somebody who is here to gain confidence within themselves and their creative potential, and to use this potential to inspire and to empower other people and to lead by example. These are the visionaries. That is why, you know, Rhiannon is such an amazing psychic and intuitive and tarot reader and all of those things, because she is the visionary. She sees things differently. She sees things way down the road. Now, the best way to think about an 11 is that your vibration is up here, and the rest of us are kind of down here. Okay, this means that you're kind of closer to the divine, so that your connection to the divine is maybe a little bit closer. The way I describe it is that, like, there's a veil that exists between ourselves and the divine. And for the 11s, I feel that veil is a little thinner for them. I've never met an 11 yet that hasn't told me that as a child, they felt different. They felt isolated. They felt extremely sensitive and maybe judged for their sensitivities, very psychic, seeing all kinds of things, you know, ghosts and spirits and angelic encounters and all that kind of stuff. That's common, really common for the 11s. And that's just giving them a sample of the gifts that they have, but quite often they shut it down because it scares them, or they shut it down because, you know, when you're up here vibrating from this level and the rest of us are down here, we don't get you. And when you tell your mom, oh, I saw Uncle Charlie at the end of my bed last night, mom might say, stop talking about that stuff, that's freaking me out. And the 11 goes, oh, you didn't see Uncle Charlie. Oh, okay, I am different, right? And I'm scaring people, so I got to shut this stuff down. And so then you become isolated, and you put yourself in a self-imposed prison because now you can't express yourself the way you agreed to. Okay, Rhea, can you relate to that?
Oh my God, 100%. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
It's a very difficult thing. Like there's a lot of like, I'm happy that I'm an 11, but also like, oof. Yeah,
it's a tall order for sure.
Yeah.
And remember, the 11 is a 2, and the 2 said, I need partnership. I need to be with people. And yet, if I express myself for who I really am, there's a risk that you're not going to like me and you'll reject me. And I can't take that risk. So I'm going to shut all this down, and I'm going to come down and I'm going to meet you at your level. I'm going to conform, and I'm going to put the mask of conformity on so that I can just be who I think you want me to be rather than who I need to be.
Yeah, I wonder if any 11s who are here, I'm sure there are a lot, because I'm sure you invited the 1111 group, yeah, or the master number 11 group. I used to feel like everybody else understood something about life that I did not get. Yeah. That was my belief, like, oh, they all get something. How come I just don't get it? Why don't I get this? That was my big thing growing up until like maybe 5 years ago. I would feel that way a lot. So
yeah, it's kind of, you know, it's definitely that way. It can be really, really frustrating because you like the common comment I get from all the 11s is, this ain't my planet. And I'm just waiting. Like, it's about time that they came back for me, right? I don't really fit in here. Where are my people? And that's why I've created the community for 11s, because they need their tribe. If there's anybody who needs their tribe, it's the 11s. They really need. So the weak, or pardon me, the strong side is that they're very sensitive. They're awesome team players, very, very intuitive. They make great psychics, great partners. They just intuit what you need. They're wonderful collaborators and peacekeepers. They're just a gentle, loving energy. But the weaker side is that they can become extremely hypersensitive, very insecure, very needy, very depressed, codependent is not uncommon. Yeah, they can fall to one side or the other. So, but they do make great psychics and healers, intuitives, counselors. Again, anything that relates to the number 1 and the number 2, go back to your notes, right? Relates to the 11, because they are here to master both. So, but at the end of the day, they're 2s. So go back and study the message around number 2. What do they make? Great teachers and counselors and therapists and peacekeepers, pastoral care workers. Sound like a commercial, you know? But anything that, you know, works one-on-one with people is a good fit for them. All right, number 22. Remember the 11 is working on double 1s. The 22 is now working on the double 2s. Again, go back and study your notes with relation to the number 2. So the 22 is actually a 22-4, because 2 + 2 = 4. So they are the builders. Remember what we know about the 4 is it's a foundational number. They need to put 4 posts into the ground. Whether you're a 13-4, whether you're a 31-4, whether you're a 22-4, you have a need for foundation. And in the case of the 22-4, you have a need to provide some kind of a foundation that will support humanity on some level. So this is somebody who needs to develop a very methodical, patient approach, step by step, to create that solid foundation that can support humanity. But again, involving a very supportive team effort. So the 22 is unlike the 11. The 11 says I have to use my words and my originality so I can help people. The 22 is saying I have to use my skills in being a team player and being somebody who is a good partner and a collaborator. So I can bring people together, right? And all these people are going to help me to create the foundation that I want to create. So they are the master builders. So when they're acting in the strong sense of it, they're very focused and very detailed. That's the 4, right? Very much the planner and the visionaries. They're the manifestors, very grounded. So, you know, they do fall to idealism at times. They can get very frustrated because they just only see one way to do it. And that's just, let's just do it. Like there's no, you don't have to get all uptight about it. Like just do this by this by this, and then you get that, right? They're very practical. On the weaker side of that, though, there's people who, I want it now. Like forget the steps, forget the details. Let's just do it now. They're overly ambitious. They're really impatient. They get very confused. They don't finish what they start. They lack that stability and the follow through. But again, once again, anything that relates to the 4 or the 2 is going to be a good fit for them in terms of profession. So, you know, the police officers, they like law and order and discipline. So they make, you know, 22-4s would be great for that. They're also learning how to work, you know, one-on-one with people. So politicians, security officers, investors, anybody who's doing any kind of building of any kind, contractors, that sort of thing, all a really great fit for the 22s. And that's it. Yay.
Wow, yay. Thank you. That's
a lot of
awesome.
information.
That is a lot of
Oh
information.
my goodness.
So, I mean, it's crazy that it's even so much more than that.
Well, yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
I was just going to read Rose's question. She says, I have an 11 for my expression number, but my life path is 15-6. So how deeply does the number 11 affect me?
I'm sorry. It was, tell me again.
So number 11 for the expression number,
Okay.
the life path is 15-6. How deeply does the number 11 affect her?
Oh, big time. The 11, I don't care where it sits, whether it's the day you were born on, your expression number, your heart's desire number, it's all going to have a very large effect. The expression number brings in the talents and the gifts. Okay, so this is somebody who's a really great visionary. This is somebody who is very much a creative thinker, is an extreme team player. This is remember, this is the gift and the talent that this person has brought forward. That's the expression number. The 6, the 15-6, this is somebody who is a nurturer, a teacher. I would say it could be an extremely intuitive teacher. This is I love to see the 11 in the place of the expression number, because whatever they do, whatever work they do, it brings in the intuition. It just makes them that much more effective. You know, so a 6 would make a really great teacher. So this is somebody who could look out into the classroom and go, oh, Johnny's struggling here. I can see that. I can pick up on that. It doesn't take a rocket scientist in their minds to see that. So I'll address that afterwards. And the insights are typically really good.
Yeah. Okay. So there's expression, there's life path, and what are the other 2 in the 4 pillars? I know we're not going to get there tonight, but.
Okay. So the life path number is the lesson number, and it's the most intense of all the numbers because it comes from the date of birth. The next one to that in the core numbers would be the expression number that comes from the full name on the birth certificate. This is not the name that you're calling yourself today. It is how does my name show up on my birth certificate? And that brings in the talents and the gifts that you chose to bring with you to support you on your journey of whatever your lesson number is. Okay. And then the heart's desire number, or soul urge number, as it's often called, could be, it relates to your passion. What are you passionate about? What do you aspire to have or to do? And then the 4th one would be the birthday number, which is a sub lesson to the main lesson, which is the life path number.
Okay. All right. And would that be, that's all part of a chart that you would create for somebody who gets a reading?
Right. So what we do, when we do a reading, the reading covers all of that. We also look at all the cycles. We look at where were you last year? Where are you this year? Where are you going next year? How does your birth name, this is something that most numerologists don't talk about, but I do. How does your birth name affect your experience? Okay, going through your personal year. It's not enough to say, oh, I'm in a 7 personal year, I'm in a 5 personal year. You've got to know, what is affecting that, what is personalizing it. And then we look at the long-term cycles as well, right from birth, right to wherever you're at right now. We look at karmic debts if they exist. We look at, in my readings, if you want to look quickly at somebody else's date of birth, if you're in a relationship with somebody and you're saying, don't know what's going on here, it's a little sketchy, then we can certainly look at that too. And it comes with a monthly forecast. So I always back it up by a year. So we take a look at last year and this year and next, but I provide a monthly forecast. So every single month you get to go in and take a look and see what's up. And yeah, and you can book them right online. It's AnnPerryNumerologist.com. And the course, and if you're interested in the course that I'm teaching, how to crack your birth code and learning how to speak numbers, I was incorrect. I said it was next Tuesday it starts. It's not. It's next Thursday. It's Thursday the 3rd. And it's a 4-week program. It will be on Thursday nights, and it will be starting at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So if you go to my website, AnnPerryNumerologist.com, go to courses, it's all in there. So the information, and there's an early bird special on it right now. And it's if you liked what we did tonight, then you get 4 weeks of this, right? So it's pretty intense. So I'd love to have you there.
That's awesome. So let's see, what other question? Do the other master double numbers not have as much significance?
There's more talk about the 11 than there is. I think this is what they're asking. There's more talk about the 11 for sure. I mean, my growth number is an 11. That's why I aspired to help the 11s. But they're no more or less important than the 22s or the 33s. You don't see many 33s, but there's a few out there. Each comes with their own bag of goodies, lessons to learn. So yeah, I would say that the 11s probably have a little bit of a tougher go because their level of sensitivity, the 2 is the sensitive one, So their level of sensitivity and sensitivity to their environment, to food, you know, they have food sensitivity, skin sensitivity, sound, light, energetic sensitivities. I mean, it's all hammering them all the time. So I would say, yeah, there's definitely a connection to that for sure. That's a little higher intensity than the rest of them, because the 22-4, on the other hand, like they're grounded, so they don't have that anxiety going on that's common to the 11s, but they have the demands on them to create something.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure.
Yeah.
They always
Oh,
feel like they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. They always feel like there's something bigger to do.
Yes. I can relate to that. So Nadia asks, her expression number is 3, but if I change my maiden name to her married name, it will change to a 9. And does that change anything if you change your name?
It does, absolutely it does. But typically when you change your name, you don't feel the effects of it from anywhere from 4 to 6 years.
Oh,
So, and what it does, it changes the vibration that you're putting out there. Okay, your birth name is just because you have, let's say, for example, you have a karmic debt as an expression number, and you say, oh, I don't want that anymore, I'm going to change my name to be that easy. That would be lovely. But it's not that easy, all right? You will always have that because it's part of your soul's contract. But what you do when you change your name in any way, that could mean you were born Anne Louise Drummond. If I referred to myself just as Anne Drummond, that changes the vibration that I put out there. But it doesn't change the fact that Anne Louise Drummond has a 5 expression number. That doesn't go away. That's still there. But what people see about me is a little different. And that is why it is typically better to always introduce yourself as your full name on your birth certificate. Many of us won't because it's middle names and stuff, and it doesn't feel natural. But that ultimately would be the best way to introduce yourself, to maintain a consistent vibration.
that makes so much sense.
Mm.
Okay. All right. What if you are called something different? Does that also have a vibration?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It does. Especially if you're calling yourself that, right?
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
it's interesting because I mean, I had a dog whose name was Marley, and Marley vibrated at the vibration of the 11. I've never had a dog that was more intuitive and psychically sensitive as she was. Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
So it works in respect to animals too.
Yeah. Oh, my doggies. I'd love to know what they are. I never even thought about that. Yeah. What would you say is an age range for life path 11 where they step into the number the most? I guess this could go for any number. I'm 32 and I feel like I have a long way to go before I'm embodying the 11.
Okay, so in a reading that we talk about what's called the maturity number. The maturity number, I'm sorry, I don't know her name. What was it?
Danny.
Danny. What we talk about is a maturity number. The maturity number actually kicks into gear between the ages of about 35 to 50. And it's possible that you might be feeling that now. My son, case in point, his maturity number is an 11, actually. And I can see him starting to morph and shift and change, even though he just turned 30. But I know he's already feeling it. He's already going into it. And I don't know if that's related to the life path number. You know, he's a 7, more intuitive, whatever, don't know. But the fact is, a lot of people do feel their maturity numbers a little sooner than when they actually kick into gear. So it is like a middle point. There's also what we call life path periods we look at. There's pinnacles we look at, and I could go on and on. But it's all stuff that we covered. Yeah.
I have a strange question. What if you don't like your life path number?
Sucks to be you.
I was kind of feeling that, but I'm wondering
Ain't
if
nothing you can do about that.
add other numbers around you, like maybe get a vanity plate with a number that you do like would any of that help? Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, that can work for house numbers. You know, if you don't like your house number and it's not conducive to who you are, you can make those adjustments and whatnot, but there is nothing you can do with your life path number. The best thing you can do for your life path number is to accept that you chose it. This is not punishment. You know, a lot of people say, oh, you know, I've got a karmic debt life path number, I'm being punished. No, you're not. you're being the big girl or the big boy, and you decided to rise to the occasion to overcome some karmic crap that you created in a previous lifetime. It's not punishment, right? So even though life path numbers can be challenging, how you choose to respond to the lessons is going to create your reality. It's always up to you.
Yeah, I love that positive spin on it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So as part of like stuff that you offer, your services, your readings, do you offer relationship readings, like how people get along?
Yeah.
I feel like that would be a fascinating topic. As we were talking, some relationships came up, people I know their numbers, and I was like, ooh, I would love to know. And I wonder how many people here, like, it'd be cool to come back and talk about that, or
yeah,
just
compatibility is that's a wide topic.
it would be huge. Yeah.
It is. But yeah, I do offer full relationship compatibility charts. That's an offering on the website as well. I mean, during a basic reading, if you just want to kind of, take a look at somebody and have just sort of a rough overview, I'm happy to do that in the reading, so long as they're okay with it. Like you can't just sneak around on somebody and have them explore, because I'm not cool with that. So it wouldn't be ethical, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. So I would like to know from everyone, what's their favorite thing they learned, just to share. What's your favorite thing you learned with each other? I mean, I'm not going to read them all, but I would love to just see it in the chat. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
And yeah, that's awesome, Anne.
Well, there's lots of learning videos on my YouTube channel. You're welcome to go and check them out. I've got some free courses available. Go to my website. You can find them on there. I have a free offering on the website, 3 things your date of birth can reveal about you. So you might be interested in checking that out. Yeah, there's all kinds of free information on there, and some, like I said, free courses. And there's some my schools in there as well. I have some other courses that are really inexpensive to take if you want to explore those. Yeah. But the one that's coming up, if you really want to know who you are, if you really want to put your best foot forward, and really start to embrace who you are, I would really, really encourage you to check out the Cracking Your Birth Code course, because we'll be talking a lot about what we talked about tonight. So it'll be a little bit of a review on the first week, but certainly the weeks to follow, it's pretty involved, and it's a lot of fun. We even end up doing celebrity profiles at the end, which is a lot of fun. So you will decide early on in the course who you want to explore, and you'll actually be doing a chart for a celebrity, and then you'll be able to sort of present it to us after the fact. And if you're not comfortable doing that, just send me the information. I can do it, if you don't want to do it in the group. But I keep the groups really small so that we get to know each other really well, and we're all laughing and having a good time by the end of it. So
yeah, that's so fun. So accurate, and everybody in the comments is saying how much they relate to their number and how much it resonates with them. So it's amazing, and you've got a lot of thank yous, and I learned so much, and it's so healing. I agree. I think it's so healing to know this about yourself. I know for me, when I found out that I was an 11, I was like, oh, that's why I feel like an alien. I get it now. And it's very validating. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No question. No
really
question. Yeah. If it's a wonderful tool to just know who you are and what you signed up for. If you're beating against a wall and you're confused, and especially right now with COVID going on and whatnot, a lot of people are saying, what is going on here? Like, what is this all about? And how can I benefit from it, or how can I approach it maybe a little differently? There's so much in your numerology that, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to learn how to do this, but it's important that you learn the basics. It's important that you learn how to speak the numbers, and that way you can plug them in wherever. For example, if your life path number is an 8, this is somebody who is learning how to work with their power and their authority, and learning how to teach people how to treat them, and learning more about their self-worth and such. That's the lesson. Okay. The life path number is the lesson. But if you have an 8 expression number, that brings in the gift. Okay. It's still an 8. but it just brings in the positive side to say, I don't have to learn how to be a good manager. I have that quality. Okay. So it's just where you plug it in. But if you understand the basics from 1 to 9, we can plug them in anywhere. But again, I take it quite a bit deeper in that I'm a 7, right? So I can't leave any stone unturned. We got to look at it a little deeper. And instead of saying I'm a 7 or I'm a 6 or whatever, let's really crack that code together. That's what's important to me. So
yeah, I love the lessons. It makes so much sense. Just looking at my own, while you were talking, I was doing my mom, I was doing my
yeah.
kids, and it's nice to know because it gave me insight into my mother. We're so different. She and I are so different. So it's so nice to see, like, oh, okay, no wonder why she's so picky, and like she's all about family. She's 6. So it was very interesting to see that. Yeah.
Yeah, the 6s. Oh, wow. Yeah, well, there is a common thought that says 2s, 4s, and 8s are compatible. So it would be like 11s as well, and 22. So 2s, 4s, and 8s are compatible. 1s, 5s, and 7s, 3s, 6s, and 9s.
Oh, okay. That makes total sense. Yeah. Yep. I can totally see that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. God, I'd love to know more about the relationship. Not astrology, numerology. Totally. And do you mind give a little shameless plug for myself right now for your community members here? Okay, totally. So I, just so everybody knows who I am, because I feel like I was just like, let's get right to Anne. And I feel like I didn't even introduce myself. My name is Ree. I'm a tarot reader. And I also have a membership group, a spiritual awakening membership group, which is what Anne is kind of doing for my membership group right now. She's here as a guest, and I have guests every month. I also have psychic and intuitive training on Thursdays, and we learn to shift energy. And on Monday nights, we heal each other, and we have an intention circle. So the first month is free. So definitely, like, reach out to me. I didn't even give my information. My email is rhi1122@icloud.com. And I have a lot to offer in the membership group. So I just wanted to just share that.
We'll share the links too. We do the
yes. Yeah. Awesome. This was wonderful. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming. And I know that everybody from my community was super psyched to have you here, and they all totally resonated with their numbers, which I'm not at all. That's awesome. Yeah.
Well, I was so delighted to be here, and I hope everybody's kind of gained something from it. And that's what it's all about. And if you enjoy it, share the video. We'll get it edited and sent out. Try and get it out tomorrow, I guess. And spread the word. Ree's got some great offerings out there, and she's a great teacher. If you had anything to do with her, and we do our monthly forecasts. We're doing it tomorrow, right?
We're doing it tomorrow. Yes, so be on the lookout. Both of our YouTube channels for the forecast for June, which is unbelievable. Yeah, Pam wants to know if we're going to collab again. Well, I absolutely love Anne, and I adore spending time with her. So you know what? I'm sure we will. I just don't know when.
Check out the YouTube channel. We both have collaborative videos of the two of us doing work together. So you can check out my channel and Ree's channel, and there's all kinds of good stuff that we've done in the past. So yeah, and I'm sure we'll do something in the future.
Yeah. So your I'm getting channel name ? So Anne's is
Numerologist.
Okay. All right.
If you're a master number 11, I have the master number. It's all spelled out, master number, and then the number 11.com. There's master number 11 membership. So you might want to check that out. We have guests. Ree has been a guest in there a couple of times. So we have guest speakers that come in every month, and we talk about things that enrich the lives of the 11s. And we've got the Facebook groups too, and we'll send all those links out to you. So you'll get it all in the newsletter.
Totally. Yeah. Because we do awesome stuff, and our collaborations
are pretty amazing, right?
We are. Oh my God, we're goddesses. Absolutely. Our collaborations with YouTube videos are awesome because it's tarot and numerology, and it fits together so amazingly well. I'm blown away every time how well they just complement each other. It's amazing. So yeah. Awesome. Right. Yes, fabulous goddesses. All of us here are divine. That was wonderful, Anne. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate your time. I know this is kind of lengthy, but thank you for being here.
Yes, well, there's a lot of good information. So yeah, everybody have a good night. And yes, what is your channel? James wants to know. And when do you do your live? Oh, okay. So my channel is Upgrade to Uplift, and I do my live on Mondays and Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, all spiritual topics. And we also do like healing and intention circles. So it's pretty awesome. I upload also Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays because I just love making videos. I'm kind of obsessed. So yeah, yes, it's fun.
I just put
And I host great retreats. Yeah, Pam just spent the weekend with me. Actually, Friday through Monday, Pam was at the retreat, and man, by the end, we were vibing high in a way that like I didn't know people could vibe high. Our lives with Ree has changed my life. You're awesome, Tracy. Thank you. Yeah, the lives, not lives, but lives too, I hope so. Yes, so sweet. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thanks, guys. And I look forward to seeing you all again.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And Anne, I guess we'll talk very soon. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow.
Sounds
Yeah.
good. Looking forward to
Yes.
it.
Yes, awesome. And I hope to see everybody on the live tomorrow too at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Upgrade to Uplift. All right.
Perfect.
Okay. Good
See you
night, guys.
Have a great night.
Bye.
Bye.